Gymnopedie No. 1 is one of the most popular pieces in the piano repertoire. It looks simple, but most pianists completely miss the style. Today I'm going to show you how to practice this piece so that you can perform it expressively and so it sounds natural and not stiff. And we'll work on the real challenges, the left hand leaps, and figuring out which hand to play, the stretchy 4-note chords. We'll also talk about dynamics, pedaling, phrasing, and voicing. So a complete lesson. You can get the sheet music for this piece in the description box below. It has my fingering, pedaling, and dynamic suggestions marked in. Print it out and get started with it today and enjoy this free lesson. I'd like to quickly mention a little history about this piece so that you can play it the way that Satie intended. So he wrote this piece in 1888, but stylistically it doesn't belong to Romanticism. It's best described as pre-impressionist. So Satie was deliberately rejecting emotional excess and heavy rubato. So we need to be careful not to play this too dramatically. We can use a little bit of rubato and dynamics to make it come to life, but it should be subtle. The tempo marking means to play slowly and sorrowfully. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I'm terrible at French. But the time signature 3/4, normally we would accent the first beat of each measure. But in this piece, I recommend playing the first note a little lighter and then making the chord more important. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That gives this piece a slight lilt. The chord arrests tell us where the half note chord falls, which is always on beat 2, and the dotted half notes in the bass clef should be held all the way through the measure, and sometimes we'll have to rely on the pedal to hold that. But at the beginning you could play the chords with your right hand so that you can hold the dotted half note all the way through with your fingers. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which is really nice in these quiet exposed measures. And then you'll have to start playing the chords with your left hand when this melody comes in. Start practicing this piece hand separate, and I recommend that you practice the chords without the leaps first. So this will help you to get comfortable with the chords, and it'll also help you to see patterns more easily. So at bar 19, pay attention to the common tones. So from here, I'm keeping the B, then I'm going to keep the D, the A, keep the E, then I'm keeping the B and the G. No common tone there. Once you're comfortable with the chords, then you can add the leaps back in. This is a great time to work on making the chord a little more important than the first note of each measure. Get really comfortable with that before you start trying to add the right hand. You may struggle reaching some of the 4-note chords, like at bars 24 through 26 and 29 through 31. So you can take the top note of the chord with your right hand. So here at 22, so that's nice because you can hold all of the notes for the full value, and it gives you a little more control. If your hand is stretched out really far, sometimes it's difficult to control the volume. And going forward, if I use good fingering in the right hand, I can connect all of the notes in the right hand and still take the top notes of some of the chords. So if I play this, as you're practicing the left-hand chords, keep your wrist flexible. Curve your fingers, it's almost like they're stiff, and then keep your wrist flexible so that you can control the volume, and then also you are able to play all of the notes at the same time. Sometimes when we are trying to play quiet, we tense up and we don't get the sound we want. So keeping a flexible wrist will help. And then also, it might help you to get in position quickly and then slowly push the keys. Practice the right hand separately also and work on creating a beautiful tone without the pedal, and keep your wrist flexible so that you can control the volume. If you use good fingering, you can connect all of the notes within the slur. We want to try to do that without the pedal. So here at bar 31, I can create a smooth legato with just my fingers. So I'm going to a thumb and then cross over. Then here I'm going to transfer, and I'm going to hold the G to connect into that chord. Then when you add the pedal, hands together, you get a silky smooth legato. And if you're struggling with those 4-note chords at the end there, you could experiment with dropping the middle C, the bottom note, and then dropping the bottom note there, the D too. That gives you a little more control over voicing the top note of the chord. Once you're comfortable with the notes in the right hand, then start working on shaping the phrases with some dynamics. And practicing right hand separately will help you identify the melody and also the phrases. So this first phrase goes to there. And then the second phrase goes to there. Now here, if you're taking some of the notes with your right hand in the 4-note chords, just make sure you're still voicing the melody. So if I'm playing, so here I need to voice the top note, the C there. And I need to bring this out and not this lower D here, because it's not part of the melody. Experiment using the soft pedal in this piece. It can be difficult to get a beautiful tone, so you may decide not to use it, but I like to use it on bars 1 through 8, and then I come off at bar 9 at the forte marking. So. On the forte marking, I wouldn't play that chord too loud. We don't want it to be harsh, but we want it to be noticeably louder. And I recommend practicing the left hand with the chord, with the pedal changes. So I recommend changing at the beginning of each measure. When you first start playing this hands together, you may struggle to play it clean because of the left hand large leaps. So my solution for that is make sure that you can play the chords in the left hand really clean and easily, and then you've also practiced it with the leaps without the right hand, so lots and lots of left hand practice. Then you also need to be able to play the right hand without looking, because you're going to be busy looking at your left hand. You're not going to be able to look at both hands. And there are some ties that you might find confusing. So at bar 9, here, I'm going to play, I want that F sharp to stay ringing through. And so when I play it with that chord with my left hand, I'm going to grab the F sharp with my right hand before my left hand moves. I'm going to grab that F sharp. And then when you get to the next tie, the E, you don't have to do a hand swap. Your left hand's just going to cross over the right hand. So keep your right hand low. And keep that E down there. And you can do the same thing on the next page with the ties. I encourage you to listen to some professional recordings of this piece to get some interpretation ideas, but dynamics and a slight rubato can help keep this piece from being boring and too metronomic. We just don't want to play it too dramatically. So listen for places in the music that sound more intense and emotional, like I would say bars 26 through 37 and at the end. So you can push forward a little in these places and crescendo, but be careful not to rush. So I'm starting here at 22. It starts calm here. Then push forward to there. Then bigger here. And push forward to here. Take time, because that's the end of the phrase. I find that my students rush a lot in this piece when they try to pull off a rubato. So it helps to talk to them about a roller coaster effect. So think about starting at the top of the roller coaster and then gradually coming down and gaining a little bit of speed. So on this part, so I'm not doing too much, just a little bit. Then here, pushing forward here to here. Then take time. Take time on the ends of the phrase. This piece is pretty repetitive, so bars 1 through 39 repeat almost exactly, but then at bar 72 to the end, it's different. And this piece ends in the key of D minor. So you want to highlight that change. So what I do here at 66, it's calm. Bigger. So you can hear that I just took a little more time on that last phrase. I took time for the big chords, and this is where I play the loudest in this piece.